Hey guys, so welcome to our weekly video again. I don't know what we're gonna call it yet. Maybe you guys can give us some suggestions of what you'd like this show to be called. I'm again here with Alasdair Fraser. Alasdair, well done on that piece on Alan Donald, by the way. Really great story. I like the way that you expressed what it was like for you to see him for the first time and actually see him in action back when he was at his best. So great story. This week, we're going to move on. I don't know if you guys have picked up on the theme, but we started off with the vision of 2023. We then moved on to each of us, all of our writers got together and we wrote about who we would like to take over Otis Gibson if he doesn't take a contract or he doesn't renew his contract. Some guys said some overseas-based coaches. Some guys said that we would like local coaches. You said Mark Boucher, I said Ashwell Prince. We have Naima that mentioned having Enoch from the Lions and let him take over. So all of us have given us our opinions, but this week we decided to go with something a little bit more analytical and go into a little bit more depth. We wanted to look at the backroom staff of the Proteas and actually see how much influence they had on the failures of South Africa at this World Cup campaign. So I'm going to throw it up to Alasdair to start this debate off, or this discussion off. Alasdair, you know about our backroom staff. We have Malibongwe as the assistant coach, Dale Beckenstein batting coach, Justin Ontong fielding coach. We have Claude Henderson as a spinning coach, and of course, Otis Gibson was our bowling coach. So, first of all, what do you think of our coaches, and how much influence did they have on our failures at this World Cup?
Shot, thanks for having me again. Always enjoy being on the show. There was, even a year ago, people were voicing their opinions on social media and lots of other renowned writers kind of questioning where these guys' heads are at and whether they could actually do anything for the Proteas during the World Cup. For me, the thing is that I've never been happy with Dale Beckenstein. I think he should have gone years ago. Great player. He was a Wisden Player of the Year. When he played county, he played for South Africa, quite a few ODIs. But he just didn't seem to really get it up, our batsmen up to scratch at all performance level. We saw against Sri Lanka, not one of our guys actually built an innings, try to create a partnership and work that way around so you could build like a 400 total. They were at sea, and maybe the warning bells they were allowed a year ago, and against Sri Lanka when we lost the series, maybe it was too soon or too early, to actually play with anything. But going to the World Cup, I don't think Beckenstein was the right guy. What I don't understand is why wasn't there a plan where they were preparing in conditions in England and actually doing research? I feel like they just didn't do their homework, and it was glaringly obvious. Yes, the last 4 games we started to build innings and we saw what we wanted, but it was too late, and it just didn't seem like we had a plan A, B or C. So for me, with Dale Beckenstein was the main one. Obviously with the coaches, if Otis goes, there is going to be a full sweeping change, and I think you discussed that in your article that came out today, Monday.
Yeah, so I do talk about the different coaches that are currently in our backroom staff, and I speak about what their roles were and what they failed at doing. My major surprise was that both Otis and Dale had experience in England, either as players or as coaches, but they seem to fail to think about how our players could maximize the conditions. I mean, years of experience, they should know how our players would be able to play there. When you're talking about Dale Beckenstein, my biggest problem with him was the fact that our batting deteriorated under him. I don't know if it's a coincidence or it is purely because of his coaching style. I mentioned that he rather focused, it seemed though, that as if he rather focused on unified batting strategies as a team rather than individual batting strategies, and trying to enhance each batsman's confidence and enhance each batsman's style and play and stroke play, etc. That's what was a failure for me from that point of view. And the comments that he made when India came to tour here, and their 2 spinners destroyed us in the ODI series, and he said that it's difficult for us to prepare against spin unless they're bowling at us in the nets. I mean, that shouldn't be the case. we can't struggle against spin as we do. I mean, we were putrid against spin here, and when we went to Sri Lanka in the Test series, we were destroyed again, like you already mentioned. I want to also talk to you about our assistant coach. So we have Malibongwe in the position. He was the head coach at the Warriors for about over a year, only for one season, I think it was. Was it too soon for him to come in as an assistant coach? Don't you normally need an experienced head in that position?
Well, any of the other international teams would have had an experienced coach. You look at Australia, they had Ricky Ponting. I don't need to say any more about where his head is at. He's amount of tests, ODIs, captain Australia to World Cups, knows his stuff, and he's an assistant coach. Obviously, South Africa's dynamics are not the same as Australia's, I think it was advantageous that they had him in as the assistant coach. Whether he actually made a difference to the team, perhaps being an argument to Dale Benkenstein's theory of how to bat. If we had Rare Hickey, he may have said to Dale, you can't actually have a uniform way of our guys going out there to bat. This sport is an individual sportsman's game within a team dynamic. So every batsman should have their own way of doing things, and you should respect that. You should play to their strengths, not say, right, we're going to do it in one specific way and it's going to work. Like it never does. So from that viewpoint, that's how I feel that maybe you need a stronger individual, an extra voice that will critique what is going on at the same time.
Another thing that was omitted was the fact that because Otis Gibson was the bowling coach at England, he decided not to appoint a bowling coach. Charles Langeveld would have been a brilliant appointment. I think he was up for the job, but they decided not to go with him. I mean, he was one of our best death bowlers that we've seen in the modern era. And it's quite funny that that's exactly what the Proteas struggle with, is bowling Yorkers, and that's something that Charles was good at. I know you're a big fan of fast bowling. Tell me, do you think that was a mistake from Otis's point of view to decide not to look at the team as a whole, but rather to, take and omit the bowling coach, giving himself more tasks to do?
Look, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but a massive mistake of Otis not keeping Charles Langeveld on. I'm a huge fan of Charles Langeveld. He's just got... I think there's like bag of tricks that he's always had, even during his playing career, and that's something that he can impart onto our players. And obviously a brilliant exponent of bowling Yorkers. They missed a trick because by not having Charles there, Otis had to do basically everything. And having Charles there just to concentrate on death bowling, coaching the bowlers, would have allowed Otis more of an opportunity to, work with Faf, work more with the team, manage the team instead of being the bowling coach and being everyone. You can't do that, and at this level, test level, ODI level, everything has to be in place. It's a professional sport, and you can't do everything as a coach. It's impossible.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we know about our spin bowling coach. I'm going to go through every single one of them. I didn't see much. The basic summary for me is that I didn't see much improvement in our spinners. I think that they did what they were expected to do. Keshav was a top test cricketer, top test bowler. He's been a good bowler in the domestic cricket for a long time. Just about getting that opportunity. Imran Tahir was the world-class bowler. We know he is. I haven't seen him improve Terbrae Shamsi much in the time that he's played. I think Imi has actually given Terbrae a lot of wisdom down the line. We don't know what happens behind the scenes, like you said. So sometimes the players that are the people that are working hard behind the scenes are overlooked. Maybe Claude is one of those people. I also wanted to tap in a little bit about our fielding and Justin Ontong as our fielding coach. He had some safe hands when he was a player, but I think in his time, at least over the last 2 years, our fielding has deteriorated. I mean, we saw how many times we missed catch, we dropped catches in the slips, we dropped catches in the field, run-outs that we've missed out on. We haven't been as quick onto the ball as we usually are. Just the awareness in the field, the intensity. We've always been a great cricket fielding team, and you would know from seeing Janty Rhodes, etc.
Good time. Well, just before I say something about the fielding, with regards to Claude Henderson, I think one of the things is that my theory has always been, if you coach Roger Federer, you don't teach him how to play tennis or coach his tennis. You coach his mental mind and how to react in certain match-like situations. And a guy like Imi was doing that with our team. Well, that sort of, if you can't coach Imi, you just got to let him do his thing, but manage his mental state and his mind. Just tell him how far to run down the field when he takes a wicket. That's all you need to do. But the thing is that Claude's been there for quite a long time. He's been in the setup, and perhaps there's a role where he does manage the guys, but he wasn't. Personally, I would have gone for Maharaj at the World Cup. We've spoken about this before. So you can't tell. Claude Henderson was an off spinner, so he can't tell Imi what to do with his bag of tricks. In fact, Imi would have taught him how to bowl. So maybe it'd be a good idea going forward is to have Imi as a consultant within the Proteas camp going forward. But with the fielding, so what's been quite interesting is that during the World Cup, a lot of the commentators were noting how poor our fielding had been. The drop catch by Miller against India, Rohit Sharma, that kind of stuff. That's unacceptable. That's Sunday League. But when it came to the fielding side of where's Ontong, he was a great fielder at the Cobras, fantastic. But was he a great fielder for South Africa? No, not really. So where was his role within the team? He's a great player, great guy, but what did he actually do? Because the results were there, they were plain to see. There was no fielding at all going on as far as I'm concerned. There was no plans. There was often times when Faf looked like he was trying to change the field. There wasn't, it just didn't seem, it just seemed slightly off. But I think we discussed this early on, was maybe having a Herschel Gibbs as the fielding coach. He, if you can't go on tour, he's here while they're in South Africa, or we get a baseball coach. We get someone, we think out of the box, maybe on a consultancy basis, because back in the day, you didn't have a fielding coach. You didn't have this. You just had one coach and a few other individuals. I understand you need a bowling coach and a batting coach, but do we really need a fielding coach 24/7? So perhaps you need someone to come in, teach the guys the drills, they learn the drills, and adhere to that, and try and actually stick to where they're at. Because what happened with earlier South African teams under the Anskronia era and everything, they didn't only field well, they put so much effort into their fitness. And fitness and fielding go hand in hand. If you're unfit, you will see how poorly these oaks are. Their muscle memory was not even there, so you saw that Miller catch. I mean, why was his hands up like that? Why couldn't he just small things like that, knowing, don't try and go back to your default settings. And I just don't feel that they were coached there. Yeah.
So guys, that's our take on the backroom staff. I would like to know your guys' take on it. We will be bringing out columns and comment pieces, etc., on who we think should be the backroom staff for the Proteas going forward, or guys that maybe could replace the current backroom staff that are in place. I would like you guys to comment, like, share, smash the like buttons, share that video, and let's see what you guys think about the backroom staff in the comment section below. Thanks, guys.